again Tuesday. The difference being we'll have more cloud cover, but the rain will hold off until Wednesday. Not as cold for the overnight, down to 34 by your Monday morning, and then 67 for the afternoon high with plentiful sunshine. Enjoy. More weather coming up.
Charlotte Mecklenburg police go to church to talk gangs. Sunday, several officers from the Freedom Division spoke to a West Charlotte Montagnon congregation. The meeting is part of recent efforts by department leadership to develop a closer relationship with minority community members around Charlotte. Officers are holding meetings in places like churches to discuss various topics, including gangs. They say educating these groups on such issues is often difficult because of language barriers.
And we work hard to try to hire applicants from many of our communities. But we always have that language issue, and we never seem to have enough folks who can translate. That's why it's critical. The minister here has worked with us. He translated today, and he has just been a phenomenal support for us.
To find out how you can request a neighborhood meeting with officers, just go to our website at news14.com. We posted a link to find the division you live in and how to contact those officers. The 2010 gang report shows the number of gangs reported in the state is up from last year, but that doesn't mean the actual number of gangs has increased. News 14 Carolina's Jessica Cervantes has more on what the newest data reveals.
When we started back in the 1990s, nobody wanted to acknowledge that gangs existed in the state.
But they do. And Friday, the Governor's Crime Commission not only got a look at the newest report, but learned more about a system now used exclusively to gather the data. It's called NC GangNet.
Hopefully, all the counties will begin to participate in GangNet. GangNet is certainly a law enforcement sensitive document, but a wonderful document for counties to be able to use with each other.
The 2010 report shows that there are 898 gangs in the state. That's an increase from the 855 the year before. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the number of gangs in the state has increased. It might just mean that the number reported has.
We learned real quick we couldn't call it a gang problem. We had to call it a gang presence just to get people to tell us what they had.
Here's a look at counties with the highest number of reported gangs. First, there's Mecklenburg County with 160, followed by Wake County with 97, Forsyth County with 60, and Cumberland County with 42. The president of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, James Knight, who's also the sheriff in Edgecombe County, said they have 41 reported gangs.
Edgecombe County have got a pretty good hold on the gang in our area, but what I see is the fluctuation of them getting more involved in break-ins and things like that there, and drugs.
Which is why law enforcement officials say preventative measures are important.
We've got to focus on keeping young people in school. That's the key to success.
In Raleigh, Jessica Cervantes, News 14, Carolina.
Members of the Governor's Crime Commission have come up with new recommendations to help with the gang problem, include encouraging law enforcement and local school districts to properly identify and recognize gangs, and to have appropriate state funding allocated to operate and maintain GangNet. And this man is accused of restraining a woman in his Hickory home and using a box cutter to carve the word mine on her stomach. Police charged 41-year-old Keith Campbell Saturday with first-degree kidnapping, rape, and assault with a deadly weapon. Investigators say the victim was able to free herself and drive to the hospital. Campbell is jailed without bond. He's scheduled to appear before a judge Monday. Hundreds of people gathered at a soccer field in Cabarrus County Sunday afternoon calling for immigration reform. Organizers called the rally historic and necessary to grab the attention of the U.S. government. Many waved the American flag and carried signs reading "Reform and Immigration for America" and "Immigration Reform equals more jobs." Organizers say now is the time for reform and believe it will help stimulate the economy. They also want to prevent separation of families and allow immigrants to get their education. Those rallying said they are finished being quiet when it comes to reform.
This gathering here wouldn't happen if people are not fed up and coming out of the shadows. People are saying enough is enough. I'm not going to be under the shadows anymore.
We'll have more on the rally later this evening and hear from one U.S. representative about her fight with immigration reform. A new state law could land some young boaters in hot water. Beginning in May, boaters under 26 will have to be certified to operate certain watercraft. There could also be hefty fines for anyone who's not in compliance. News 14 Carolina reporter David Kernodle shows us more.
It's a nice day.
Fueled for fishing.
Going bass fishing.
It's Brian Irvin's river routine.
I go every weekend.
His fishing hole is a ways away. A small nudge of the throttle in his V6.
It's a 150 Evinrude.
Makes timely traveling. But Irvin is unsure if he'll be allowed to continue this weekend tradition come May.
26 and under, you have to have some kind of class to operate a boat.
He's talking about a new law in North Carolina's books requiring boaters of a certain age to take a class.
Tell me a little bit about boating.
Like this.
I think the law is basically designed to reduce accidents.
North Carolina Wildlife Officer Kyle Boris says it affects anyone younger than 26 years old who operates a vessel powered by a motor of 10 horsepower or greater on public waterways. Boris says ever since the new law was announced, his classes are filling up fast.
Several people called in afterwards after it was full.
And his students are younger than normal, which he says is a good thing because most incidents are caused by young boaters. Once they've completed the class, they'll be certified. If they're caught boating without certification, they'll be cited.
$125. So it's kind of costly.
Which is a sigh of relief for Irvin. He just barely makes the cut class.
I am 26.
It's leaving him to the lake and days full of fishing. In Charlotte, David Kernodle, News 14, Carolina.
The new boating law goes into effect May 1st, and you can check out a list of available classes on the North Carolina Wildlife website. We've made a link to it on our website. Just log on to news14.com and click on Story Links. There's still much more ahead here on News 14 Carolina. After the break, we'll have another look at your exclusive Weather on the One's forecast. And new graduated license laws, higher insurance costs, and high-tech distractions are driving some teens to get their licenses later than age 16. Ahead, we'll dig deeper into each of the causes.
News 14 Carolina, statewide, local news on your schedule.
I'm a morning and night person, so I can watch it at any time, 3 o'clock in the morning.
News 14 Carolina, your news anytime, your news now.
It fits right into my day-to-day life, which is a huge convenience.
News 14 Carolina, your 24-hour local news network.